Now that I have your attention, take off my radio. Just a radio. Concrete sill for the patio door with the lake views. And what a beautiful day on the lake it is today. It must be 25 degrees. Whoa, it's a hot one today. So I got a piece of trim here. We got some caulking to scrape off the bottom of this patio door. And I wanted to talk to you about something. So we get a little privacy here. Close the door. So I got to put that back onto. I got an article I cut out for you. Actually, I didn't. My sister Charmin did. So why don't we go out on the porch in our stocking feet, and we'll sit down here with the lake view in the background. We're going to read you something from a newspaper clipping from the National Post, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. National Post, November 12th, 2005. Lists. What you ask could be on the list. Let's see now. Yeah, Douglas Coupland figured out about Terry Fox while doing a book about him. 10 things. So Terry Fox, everyone thinks his cheeks were sunburnt, but it was actually mostly his left cheek, the one that faces the sun while running westward. He received more mail than anybody in Canadian history. I'm going to get to the good stuff in a second. Terry Fox is important. He never once brought up the subject of running anywhere else but in Canada. The run was to have ended in Vancouver's Stanley Park, December 8, 1980. No one knows if the run either speeded up his cancer or slowed it down. Canadians know who Terry Fox was. He liked Hank Williams' music. He wore 9 shoes during the Marathon of Hope, 8 on his left real foot and just 1 on his prosthetic right foot. His right foot was prosthesis. He'd actually completed 2/3 of his planned run, not just half. There's no record of anybody else running more than 10 marathons in a row. Terry ran 143. If he'd had the same cancer today, chances are he'd be alive and still have both of his legs. Cancer Research Works, 2005, Douglas Coupland. Lists of things that we have to thank Canadians for. I'm going to read this from the National Post, November 12th, 2005. I'm a little behind on my newspapers. From beavers to bourgeois, Terry Fox to pablum, a new book puts her identity in convenient numbered form. It's not a new book anymore, it's an old book. Failed names for Canada. 28 failed names for Canada. How about if I just set the camera right there and you watch the lake? You can't see this. Canada comes from the Iroquois word Kanata, which means village. Kanata, which means village or settlement. Jacques Cartier first heard it in reference to Quebec City, but it was soon used to refer to the whole region. Looking back, Canada seems like an obvious pick for our country, but that was not the case in 1867, Confederation. When the Fathers of Confederation went looking for a name, many suggestions were made, but fiery member, it's a little breezy today, fiery member of Parliament Thomas Darcy McGee made the case for adopting Canada on February 9, 1865, when he pointed out that the alternatives were absurd. Quote, "Now I would ask any honorable member of the House how he would feel if he woke up some fine morning," and what a fine day it is, right here on the ocean. Not the ocean. "If he woke up some fine morning and found himself, instead of a Canadian, a Tuponian or a Hochelagander, which is what Montreal used to be called." His words rang true, evidently, and on July 1st, 1867, when the British North America Act was declared, the name Canada was formally adopted. Here's a list of the names for Canada that were suggested and rejected. Acadia, Albertland, Albianara, Albana, Alexandrina, Aquilonia, Borrelia Forest, British North America, Britannica, Cabotia, Canadensia, Colonia, and the list goes on. Anyways, what did Canadians invent? Foods invented by Canadians. I'm a Canadian. You guessed that, didn't you? Canola oil, invented in 1974 in the University of Manitoba. It is pressed from the seeds of the rapeseed plant. Ginger ale. John McLaughlin was a chemist and pharmacist who opened a soda water bottling business in 1890. While experimenting with adding flavors to the bubbly water, he hit upon the additive of ginger root. The resulting drink, pale, dry ginger ale, was an instant hit. It was patented in 1907 as Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Instant mashed potatoes. Instant mashed potatoes were invented by Edward A. Asselbergs in 1962. He came up with this novel use for Canadians' staple vegetable crop while working for the Department of Agriculture. The dehydrated flakes were never a big hit with diners, but they continue to be widely used in the creation of convenience food and military rations. Marquis wheat. How boring. But I suppose if you live in the heartland of Canada, the Midwest, where it blows back and forth, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Western Ontario, the short growing season and harsh climate of the Canadian prairies led to the development of hardy Marquis wheat between 1902 and 1910. Sir Charles Saunders, not Sanders, not that chicken guy, crossed red Fife and hard red Calcutta wheat to create a rust-resistant, and rust is a disease, rust-resistant variety that yielded big crops before the killing frosts of fall. By 1920, Marquis wheat accounted for 90% within 10 years. 90% of all wheat grown in Western Canada, Midwestern Canada. Macintosh apples, there's one right there. Lake views, right there. Sun, killing me. I'm friggin' dying here. Macintosh apples, I could use a Macintosh apple right now, not a delicious junk. Macintosh apples were discovered and first grown by United Empire loyalist John Macintosh in 1811. This is a really interesting story. While clearing land on his farm near Ottawa, he found a small stand of 20 or so apple trees growing wild. He transplanted them into his own orchard, but they all died, except one, which was exceptionally sturdy and healthy. Most importantly, the apple tree produced abundant quantities of tasty, bright red apples. Neighbors and fruit growers sought out this hardy new variety, the Macintosh Red, for their own orchards, and over the years, hundreds of cuttings and graftings produced similarly robust apple trees ideally suited to the Canadian climate. There's some ginger ale. All Macintosh apple trees descended from this one tree, which stopped producing fruit in 1908, almost 100 years later, and died in 1910, 100 years ago. Pablum, a mixture of ground and pre-cooked wheat, blah, 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 bland and mushy. I'm going to save this one for last. Processed cheese, number 8. J.L. Kraft grew up on a dairy farm in Stevensville, Ontario. While working as a grocer, he was struck by the amount of cheese that went to waste when the dry outer rind was scraped off to reach the moist, fresh, fatty, slimy, dripping. Oh, sorry, that's the other one. Interior, that's number 7. He experimented with ways to use these bits of old cheese using double boilers, triple boilers, differentials, and carburetors. Eventually, he found a way to stabilize the new dairy product, which he called processed cheese. J.L. Kraft. Yukon Gold Potato. The hybrid potato was invented by researchers at the University of Guelph in Ontario in 1980. Named after Yukon Gold Rush, it has been hailed as the perfect multi-purpose potato. New Brunswick researchers come up with the Rockdale Gold. Blah, blah, blah. Fascinating facts about beavers. It's all cut off. And number 7. Poutine. I read it to you in French. Yeah, right. Although many Canadians claim responsibility, look at the lake in case you're getting bored and falling asleep or getting sunburned, like a chicken on a spit here. Although many claim responsibility for inventing this greasy, gooey combination of squeaky cheese curds, gravy, more gravy please, and French fries, made from Yukon Gold potatoes maybe. The first poutine was made by restaurant owner Fernand Lachance in 1957 in Warwick, Quebec, the Eastern Townships, I hope. He sold the regional specialty for 35 cents, 35 sous, mixing the curds et frites ensemble dans un sac à papier, and warned diners that it would be messy but delicious. Many variations on the original recipe exist, including one deluxe version with foie gras, gross, in Montreal's Pied de Cochon Bistro, Pig's Foot Bistro. Kraft Singles, Yukon Gold, and that's a list by Douglas Coupland from November 12, 2005. That's it. Beautiful day. Wind is blowing, and like all good Canadians, we got to finish up this apartment so we could rent it out. Thanks for looking. I'm on the ocean. Goodbye.